Your feet are the forgotten foundation of your entire life. We abuse them, we neglect them, and then we are surprised when our house begins to crumble in our golden years. The aching back, the weak knees, the terrifying loss of balance. These are not signs of aging, they are the protests of a neglected foundation. I will show you the 8 deadly choices we make with our feet, but the 3 solutions I will share at the end, especially the final one, are what truly reconnect you to the earth and restore the confidence and freedom you thought you had lost. To miss this is to remain disconnected. Narrow prison. The first deadly choice, and perhaps the most common in our modern world, is to encase our feet in a narrow prison. We have been conditioned to believe that a shoe should be sleek, tapered, and aesthetically pleasing according to a fashion that has no regard for human anatomy. A healthy human foot is not shaped like a bullet. It is widest at the toes. Look at the foot of a small child who has not yet been forced into restrictive footwear. Their toes splay naturally, like the roots of a tree reaching for stability in the soil. This splay is essential for balance, for distributing the force of each step, and for providing a wide, stable base of support for the entire body. A shoe with a narrow, tapering toe box, what we might call a toe coffin, forces the toes to be squeezed together, deforming their natural alignment over time. The big toe, which should be a powerful straight rudder for our balance, is often pushed inward, creating the conditions for bunions and profoundly compromising its function. This confinement has devastating effects that travel up the entire kinetic chain of the body. When your toes cannot spread, they cannot properly grip the ground and provide the subtle, constant feedback necessary for maintaining balance. Your entire base of support becomes narrower and less stable, like trying to stand a pyramid on its point instead of its base. To compensate for this instability, other muscles in your body must work overtime. Muscles in your ankles, your calves, and even your hips must constantly fire and tense up just to keep you upright. This leads to a state of chronic tension, fatigue, and pain in areas that seem unrelated to your feet. The knee pain, the hip bursitis, the lower back ache. These are often the cries of a body that is struggling to compensate for a foundation that has been squeezed into weakness. The practice to counteract this is one of liberation. It begins with the conscious choice to free your feet whenever possible. At home, spend as much time as you can barefoot or in simple socks, allowing your toes the freedom to spread and reconnect with the ground. When you are sitting, you can consciously practice splaying your toes wide and then relaxing them. This simple exercise helps to reawaken the dormant muscles and nerves in your feet. When choosing footwear, you must become a fierce advocate for the natural shape of your foot. You must choose shoes with a wide, anatomical toe box that respects the foot's design. This may mean abandoning certain fashionable styles, but you are trading a fleeting aesthetic for the priceless gift of lifelong stability and freedom from pain. You are choosing to honor the brilliant engineering of your own body over the foolish and harmful dictates of fashion. This is not just a choice of shoe, it is a choice of wisdom over vanity, of health over illusion. Hard stilts. The second deadly choice is closely related to the first. It is the practice of standing on hard stilts. I am speaking here of shoes with an elevated heel. This includes not just high-heeled shoes, which are obviously problematic, but also the vast majority of athletic and casual shoes for both men and women, which have a subtle but significant heel drop, meaning the heel is raised higher than the forefoot. We have become so accustomed to this that we no longer even perceive it, yet its effects on our body are relentless and destructive. Your body is a masterpiece of biomechanical engineering, designed to stand and move with the heel and the forefoot on the same level plane. This zero-drop alignment is our natural state. It is how our skeleton is designed to stack, how our muscles are designed to fire, and how force is designed to be absorbed. When we put on a shoe with an elevated heel, we are fundamentally altering this entire design. Imagine you are standing on a slight downhill slope all day, every day. This is precisely what an elevated heel does. It forces your body weight and center of gravity to shift forward. To prevent yourself from falling forward, your entire body must make a series of unnatural compensations. You are forced to bend slightly at the knees and the hips. Your pelvis tucks under. Your lower back develops an exaggerated curve. Your head and shoulders must then shift forward to counterbalance this. You are no longer a gracefully stacked column of bones, but a crooked, tense structure at war with gravity. This unnatural posture places immense and constant strain on your knees, your lower back, your hip flexors, and your neck. Over many years, this leads directly to chronic pain, joint degeneration, and a profound loss of stability. Furthermore, the elevated heel shortens your Achilles tendon and calf muscles. These tissues adapt to this new, shortened position and lose their natural length and elasticity. A tight Achilles tendon dramatically limits the range of motion in your ankle, which is absolutely critical for navigating uneven ground and preventing falls. A supple ankle is a key shock absorber and balance adjuster. A stiff ankle turns your entire foot and lower leg into a rigid, unforgiving block. The force of each step, instead of being absorbed by the elasticity of your Achilles and calf, is transmitted directly up into your knees and hips. This choice of shoe is a slow, methodical dismantling of your body's natural suspension system. To heal this, one must consciously and very gradually reintroduce the foot to a zero-drop environment. Going barefoot is the ideal. When shoes are necessary, seeking out footwear with no heel elevation allows the body, over time, to reclaim its natural posture, lengthen its shortened tissues, and restore the foundational alignment that is essential for pain-free, stable movement into our later years. Numbing platforms. The third deadly choice is to walk through the world on thick, numbing platforms. We are told that we need cushioning and support, and so we buy shoes with thick, padded, rigid soles. While this may feel comfortable in the short term, we are in effect sensory depriving one of the most intelligent parts of our body. Your feet are brilliant communicators. They are covered in thousands of proprioceptive nerves, which are constantly sending a rich stream of information to your brain about the exact texture, temperature, and inclination of the ground beneath you. This sensory information is not a luxury, it is absolutely essential for balance. It allows your brain to make the constant, instantaneous, and unconscious micro-adjustments in the muscles of your feet, ankles, and legs that keep you stable and upright. It is a seamless, beautiful dialogue between the earth and your nervous system. When you place a thick, rigid slab of rubber and foam between your foot and the earth, you are essentially deafening your feet. You are cutting off this vital stream of sensory information. Your brain is now flying blind. It can no longer feel the subtle tilt of the sidewalk, the small pebble, or the soft patch of grass. As a result, your gait becomes heavier and less precise. You are forced to stomp your feet down to try and get some kind of feedback, which ironically increases the very impact forces that the cushioning was meant to reduce. Because your foot cannot feel the ground, it cannot adapt to it. The intrinsic muscles within the foot itself, which are meant to be strong and adaptable like the muscles in your hand, become weak and lazy from disuse. They are passengers in a sensory deprivation tank, no longer participating in the act of walking. A foot that is both numb and weak is a profoundly unstable foundation. This numbing effect is particularly dangerous for older individuals whose other senses, like vision and inner ear balance, may already be slightly diminished. The feet are meant to be a primary source of grounding information. When we take that away, we dramatically increase our risk of a misstep and a subsequent fall. The path back to stability involves a conscious effort to reawaken the senses in the feet. Again, spending time barefoot on safe, varied surfaces, grass, sand, a textured mat, is the most powerful way to do this. It is a feast of sensory information for your feet and brain. When choosing shoes, the goal should be to find a sole that is as thin and as flexible as possible while still providing adequate protection from sharp objects. You want a shoe that allows you to feel the ground. This choice may feel strange at first, as your feet have been asleep for many years, but with time, they will reawaken, and the renewed sense of connection and confidence you will feel with the earth beneath you is a gift of immeasurable worth. Immobilizing arch. The fourth deadly choice is born from a great misunderstanding about the structure of the foot. It is the widespread belief that the arch of the foot is a weak structure that needs to be propped up and supported by an external object. We are sold rigid orthotics and shoes with aggressive, built-in arch support, believing that we are helping our feet. In most cases, we are actually doing the precise opposite. The arch of your foot is not a weak, collapsed bridge. It is a powerful, dynamic, and elastic dome, or a series of 3 arches to be precise. Like the beautiful vaulted ceiling of a cathedral, its strength comes from its architectural shape, not from an external pillar propping it up from below. The arch is designed to be a natural spring, a leaf spring suspension system. It is meant to flatten slightly with each step, absorbing the shock of impact, and then elastically recoil, propelling you forward into your next step. This is an active living structure. When you place a rigid piece of plastic or hard foam directly under this dynamic arch, you are fundamentally interfering with its natural function. You are immobilizing it. You are telling this powerful elastic spring to stop doing its job. You are effectively putting a cast on a healthy, functional part of your body. Over time, what happens to any muscle or structure that is put in a cast? It atrophies. The intrinsic muscles and connective tissues that are responsible for maintaining the dynamic integrity of your arch become weak from disuse. The arch, which was once a strong and responsive spring, becomes lazy, passive, and dependent on the external prop. You have created the very weakness that you were trying to prevent. Your foot loses its natural ability to absorb shock, and those impact forces are then transmitted directly up the kinetic chain to the ankles, knees, hips, and lower back, creating pain and dysfunction. For the vast majority of people, the answer is not to prop up the arch, but to reawaken and strengthen it. This is done by freeing the foot and asking it to do its job again. Walking barefoot on natural surfaces is the best way to begin. Simple exercises like trying to pick up a small towel from the floor with your toes can help to strengthen the intrinsic muscles that support the arch. This is a gradual process of weaning the foot off its dependence on the artificial support. There are, of course, some specific medical conditions where a temporary orthotic might be necessary under the guidance of a wise practitioner, but for the general population, the lifelong reliance on rigid arch support is a profound mistake. It is a path that leads not to strength, but to a learned helplessness in the very foundation of our body. True support for the arch does not come from below, it comes from within. It comes from restoring the foot's own innate God-given strength and intelligence. Quick solutions. We now arrive at the 3 life-changing solutions that form the path back to a grounded, stable, and confident existence. These are not quick fixes, but profound, lifelong practices. The first solution is what I call earth connection. This is the conscious and deliberate practice of putting your bare feet on the living earth as often as possible. Our bodies are electrical beings, and the earth has its own subtle, natural electrical charge. For millennia, we were in constant contact with this charge. In our modern lives, wearing rubber-soled shoes and living in insulated houses, we have completely disconnected ourselves from this fundamental source of balance. The practice of earthing or grounding is as simple as it sounds. You find a patch of grass, of sand, of simple dirt. You take off your shoes and socks and you stand. You allow the soles of your feet to make direct contact with the planet. You feel the texture, the temperature, and the subtle energy of the earth. This simple act has numerous documented benefits. It immediately helps to reawaken the thousands of dormant nerve endings in your feet, providing your brain with a rich feast of sensory information and improving your proprioceptive awareness. This reconnection alone is a powerful tool for improving balance. But something deeper is also at work. The Earth's surface holds a natural supply of free electrons, and through direct contact, your body can absorb these electrons. This has been shown to have a powerful anti-inflammatory and calming effect on the entire body. It helps to neutralize the excess positive charge that builds up in our bodies from stress and exposure to man-made electromagnetic fields. It is like plugging your entire being into a source of quiet, healing, and balancing energy. By practicing this for just 10 or 15 minutes each day, you are not only strengthening your feet, you are harmonizing your entire nervous system. You are remembering on a cellular level that you are not an isolated entity, but a child of the earth, and you are allowing that nurturing maternal energy to support and stabilize you. Foot awakening. The second solution, which perfectly complements our earth connection, is the practice of foot awakening. It is not enough to simply take our feet out of their prisons. We must actively and lovingly re-educate them. We must reawaken the dormant muscles, restore the pliability of the stiff tissues, and bring our conscious, loving attention back to this forgotten foundation. This is a practice of gentle self-care, a daily ritual that reminds the feet of their brilliant, innate intelligence and capability. One of the most simple and profoundly effective tools for this practice is a small, simple ball, a tennis ball, a lacrosse ball, or even a golf ball for more specific pressure. The practice is simple. While sitting in a chair or standing and holding onto something for support, you place the ball on the floor and gently place your foot on top of it. You then begin to slowly roll the ball under the entire surface of your foot. You roll it from the heel to the toes. You roll it along the inner arch, the outer arch, and across the ball of the foot. You are not applying aggressive, painful pressure. You are searching. You are listening to your foot. You will inevitably find areas that are tender, tight, or stuck. These are the places where fascia has become constricted and where knots have formed in the small muscles. When you find such a spot, you do not try to punish it into submission. You pause. You apply a gentle, sustained pressure to that spot, and you breathe deeply into it. You are inviting it to release. You are using the combination of pressure and breath to melt the tension. By doing this for just a few minutes on each foot every day, you are breaking up old adhesions, improving circulation, and dramatically increasing the sensory awareness in the soles of your feet. This simple rolling practice can be followed by another simple yet powerful exercise. Place a small hand towel on the floor in front of you while you are seated. Then, using only the motion of your toes, try to scrunch the towel up, pulling it towards you. Then reverse the process using your toes to flatten it out again. This exercise specifically targets the small intrinsic muscles of the foot that are responsible for supporting your arches and providing dynamic stability. For most people, these muscles are incredibly weak from years of passive containment in rigid shoes. This towel scrunching is like taking those lazy muscles to the gym. As you practice this consistently, you will literally rebuild the strength of your own natural support system from the inside out. These are not complicated exercises. They are simple, mindful conversations with your feet, a daily practice of waking them up and thanking them for the incredible work they do. Mindful movement. The third solution is the one that brings everything together. It is the practice that integrates the mind, the body, and the earth into one harmonious whole. This is the ultimate foundation of lifelong balance. It is the practice of mindful movement. It is the conscious decision to bring our full, undivided attention to the simple, profound act of walking. It is here, in this most common of human activities, that we can either perpetuate the habits of disconnection or we can practice the art of integration. Without this final piece, all the other solutions remain incomplete. You can have the best shoes and the strongest feet, but if your mind is scattered and your awareness is elsewhere, you are still profoundly unstable. The practice of mindful walking does not require you to walk slowly or in some special way that draws attention to yourself. You can practice it at any pace, at any time. The only change is an internal one. It is the shift of your awareness. As you begin to walk, you choose an anchor for your attention. The most powerful and effective anchor is the physical sensation of the soles of your feet making contact with the ground. You simply dedicate a small portion of your attention, perhaps only 20%, to feeling this connection. You feel the sensation of your heel touching down. You feel your weight roll forward across the arch of your foot. You feel the final powerful push-off from your big toe. You are not thinking about these things. You are directly feeling them as they happen, step after step after step. Your mind, being a creature of habit, will undoubtedly wander. After only a few steps, you will find that you are lost in a thought, planning dinner, worrying about a phone call, replaying a memory. The moment you notice this, the moment you realize, I am no longer feeling my feet, I am lost in thought. That is the moment of victory. That is the moment of mindfulness. There is no need for self-criticism or frustration. You simply acknowledge where your mind has gone, and then, with the gentleness of a loving parent, you guide your attention back home, back to the feeling of your feet on the earth. This process of wandering and returning, repeated hundreds of times, is the most profound training there is. It is rewiring your brain. It is healing the dangerous split between your mind and your body. With each step that you take with this quality of presence, you are doing more than just moving your body through space. You are creating a state of deep inner alignment. And it is from this alignment, this beautiful and sacred union of a calm mind, a supple body, and a grounded step, that true, unshakable, lifelong balance is born. Which of these deadly footwear choices do you now recognize in your own closet? And which of the 3 solutions feels most urgent for you to begin?